Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Mohinder Chand, Department of Tourism and Hotel Management, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. Dear friends, today we will discuss on the subject tourism and hospitality, paper, travel agency and tour operations, itinerary preparations and tour package design. Module 12, sources of income in travel agency and tour operations. Let us start with learning objectives. After completing this module, students will be able to understand the various sources of income in case of travel agency and tour operation business, various types of financial incentives available for travel agency and tour operations. Let us start with the introduction. Travel industry has become world's fastest growing industry in terms of revenue generation, foreign exchange earnings, catering millions of tourists, regional and local development. Interestingly, every year numerous players have entered this vast industry. Every year millions of people turn to travel agencies to provide them with holidays to all corners of the world. By 2020, the government of India expects travel and tourism to contribute rupees 8,500 billion to GDP, almost 4 times the value in 2015. With successive governments' commitment to reforms, a strong manufacturing sectors and a private sector that already has critical mass that is needed to drive growth, it is unlikely that the strong growth in GDP is likely to be reserves. Travel agency and tour operators are the main component of tourism industry. They play a crucial role in the entire socio-economic development of a nation. In these modules, the learners will explore how a travel agency and tour operator generate revenues. This module also focuses on the study various type of sources of revenues for a travel agency and tour operator. Let us discuss about the sources of income in a travel agency and tour operator business. Travel agency and tour operators provide reservation and booking services, arranging and assembling tours, tour retailing and tour wholesaling services, transport ticket, wholesaling services and other services related to distribution of travel services. Travel agencies and tour operators act as intermediaries in distributing travel services on behalf of producers of the services. In some cases, they also provide add-on services such as travel management. Travel agencies and tour operators derive their revenues primarily from fees or commissions paid by the producers of the original services or by charging clients fees or markup amount on top of the purchase cost of the original services. Therefore, travel agencies and tour operators arranges activity that can be regarded as a type of distributive services or margin services like selling travel services. The outputs of these activities can be measured as gross revenue. Today, travel agencies and tour operators are also known as manufacturers of tourism product, that is tour package. They develop their own product by adding the various ingredients as per the client's or market requirements and offer under their own price tag. Thus, their sources of revenues are not only confined to commission they received from principal suppliers. Next, revenue sources of travel agency and tour operation business. The sources of revenues are depending on the size of ownership structure of the travel agencies or the tour operators. For example, in case of the retail travel agency, the main source of revenue is commission received from the travel vendors, suppliers. On the other hand, wholesale travel agency deals with bulk purchase of tour packages, components and redesign or formulate the tour package and retail through the retail travel agency. Thus, the revenue sources are vary from the functions they are performing in the tourism industry. The main revenue sources of travel agencies are as first commission received from travel vendors like hotels, motels, airlines, tour operators, cruise companies, transport companies, tour wholesalers, international tour operators, other service providers. Travel agency earned their income from commissions received from tour operators, airlines, retail companies, hotels, car hire companies, or other service providers such as insurance companies. The commission earned by an agent has always dependent on their relationship with the principal, and this itself is often dependent on the volume of business placed annually with that principal. In the last 20 years, travel agency and tour operators have also tried to supplement their income through commissions on such things as foreign exchange and overseas telephone cards. 20 years ago, almost all overseas tour packages were sold by travel agents with just a handful of direct sell operators, but now most of the operators are selling their tour packages to the clients totally, bypassing retail travel agents in the process. And with independent holidays growing in popularly, partly at the expense of the package holidays, it is not surprising that the share of the outbound market taken by travel agents is forecast to decline from the current 61% to 54% in the next 10 years. Recent years, however, being the advent of the huge travel call centers which often catering for the different type of groups, holiday clubs are promoting the booking of holidays by telephone. Moreover, the internet and its effect on travel agencies and tour operator business have changed the market environment that is emerged online travel agencies. In case of large scale travel agency or tour operator, that is corporate form of ownership, the revenue sources are different. As the organization has its own product line and have a wide area of operation, they have numerous branches abroad as well as in India, such as SOTC, Thomas Cook, Coxswain King, Orbit, and so forth. These travel organizations are performing a variety of functions not only to survive in the market but to cater the diverse requirements of the tourist and the market. In fact, they are focusing on holiday travelers as well as the business travelers. Although business travelers are the continuous source of revenue, that is more than 75%, what they are catering the requirements of the leisure travel too. Thus, it is difficult to give here a precise revenue source structure of corporate form of travel agency or tour operator, rather to understand. Moreover, the large scale travel agency and tour operators are focusing on all type of tourism related activities such as arrangement of travel insurance and currency for the tourists. Therefore, the revenue sources of travel agency depend on the size, structure and operation of that particular organization. Now, financial incentives available for travel agencies and tour operators. Since declarations of the tourism and hospitality as an industry, government has extended or granted various types of financial and non-financial incentives to this industry. The reasoning behind is that to promote the infrastructure, destinations, development, eradication of poverty, regional development, and generation of employment opportunities for the young generation and development of entrepreneurship among the youth. The following are the various incentives extended or granted by the government from time to time to the tourism and hospitality industry. The first, fiscal incentives. Industry should be given as no tax regime for a period of 10 years from the date of commencement of commercial operation, that is 50% of the profit need not to be taxed, and the balance 50% profits should also not be taxed provided they are invested back this amount in the tourism related activities. It is proposed that this no tax regime should operate for at least 10 years beginning from 1st April 2007 till 31st March 2017, having concessional period computed from the date of commencement of the commercial operation. This is primarily to encourage the existing industry to invest further into tourism sector. It is also important to encourage investment from non-tourism sector into tourism sector through a package of incentives which should be applicable for the hilly areas, rural areas, places of pilgrimage, northeast regions including Sikkim, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Here the government should allow no tax regime for a period of 10 years from the date of commencement of commercial operation. This tax incentive should also be available as in the previous recommendations for the planned periods of 11th 5-year plan and 12th 5-year plans. Tourism establishments should also be allowed a tax-free regime for their expenditures on overseas publicity and promotion and training of their employees in recognized institutions. Then subsidies. Special interest subsidy on heritage properties should be provided when converted into heritage hotels. An interest subsidy of 5% on properties converted into hotels having an age of 75 to 150 years and heritage properties older than 150 years being converted into accommodation, and interest-free subsidy of 10%. These interest subsidies should also be given to 5 to 7 years after the operation started. It should also not remain an open-ended program. Publicity and promotional material used for international and domestic market should be made tax-free. Capital subsidies should continue for 2 plan periods of the 11th 5-year plans and 12th 5-year plans. Special capital subsidy should be provided to the heritage hotels. Rationalizations of land prices. State governments must encourage hotels and tourism related industry by providing plot areas at nominal cheap rates duly identified. The state should also provide exemptions of stamp duties on purchase of land for hotels and tourism related industry, especially in the hilly areas, rural areas, places of pilgrimage, northeast regions including Sikkim, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, etc. Provisioning of electricity and water supplies. The provision for providing electricity and water supplies on a priority basis should be made by the state governments to the tourism and tourism related activities. The facilities of electricity and water supplies should be applied at least 1 month before the actual date of commencement of commercial operation, and the duties which are normally charged by the state when power is generated by the state should not be imposed if the industry uses their own captive power plants. Further, a concession of minimum power charges should be provided for usage up to a stated quantum of electricity. Further, tourism and hospitality sector projects will also be eligible for exemptions from acquisition charges if land for the project is acquired by the state government. Exemption from entry tax on plant and machinery used for the establishment of projects. Exemption from electricity duty for 10 years from the date of commencement of the establishment. Next, exemption from development charges and Malwa charges for the development authority. Next, exemption from house tax, water and sewerage taxes and all other taxes charges by the development authorities for the 5 years from the date of establishment. Next point, investment incentives. To encourage flow of capital into the tourism sector, the center and state governments have announced an attractive investment package which includes the following investment points. Investment subsidy 20% of the capital cost of investment of land, building, plant and machinery subject to a ceiling of rupees 25 lakhs shall be provided for all tourism related activities including of water supply. Then maintenance and upkeeping subsidy 20% on the cost of maintenance and upkeeping of equipments needed for the golfer, adventure tourism and water sports subject to a maximum of rupees 5 lakhs per year shall be allowed for a period of 5 years. Then publicity subsidy 10% of the costs incurred for publicity shall be eligible for subsidy up to ceiling of rupees 2 lakhs per annum for a period of 5 years. Then subsidy on power generating, subsidy on captive power generation set including non-conventional energy generation set including dwell of line shall be 50% of the cost of the set subject to a ceiling of rupees 5 lakhs. Subsidy on power shall be granted as per provision laid on in the Industrial Policy 1991 on the subject. Subsidy on telephone connection 50% subsidy on telephone connection for one-time investment should be extended. Exemption from stamp duty. An exemption of 75% of the applicable stamp duty will be provided to the assist the entrepreneurs in executing deed for financial assistance from bank financial institutions. Subsidy on the cost of feasibility study of the project. Subsidy will be provided at 100% for meeting the cost for preparation of feasibility or project report subject to a maximum of rupees 2,500. A registered reputed agency provided by the agency. However, project estimated of rupees 1 crores and above shall be eligible for 1% of the total cost subject to a maximum ceiling of rupees 1 lakh. Then interest subsidy. A subsidy on interest payments to bank financial institutions will be provided at the rate of 4% on terms loans, excluding working capital loans available for the entrepreneurs setting up any unit subject to rupees 10,000 per month for a period of 5 years from the date of disbursement of the loan. For 100% export oriented units, an additional 5% capital investment subsidy for investment of plant and machinery subject to a maximum of US dollar 10,852.54 will be made available at 100%. Other units with an export commitment of less than 100% of the total turnover, an additional 2% of the capital investment subsidy for the investment of plant and machinery subject to a maximum US dollar 4,339.06 will be made available to units of less than 100% export commitment. Next, tax holiday to enterprises providing telecommunication services, industrial undertakings. A 5-year tax holidays and a reduction of 25%, 30% in case of the companies in the subsequent 5 years is allowed to an undertaking engaged in the business of generation and distribution of power, or to an industrial undertaking set up in backward state, districts, etc. A 100% reduction from the profit and gains of an SSC engaged in the business of providing telecommunication services, both basic and others, for the initial 5 assessment years. Further, the reduction of 25%, 30% in case of the company from such profits and gains for a further period of 5 years. This reduction will be allowed for companies who begin to provide the telecommunication service at any time during the period beginning from 1st April 1995 and ending on 31st March 2000. Then telephone license fees. A new section 35A in the Income Tax Act is introduced, under which any capital expenditure incurred and actually paid by an SSC on the acquisition of any right to operate telecom service by the obtaining license will be allowed as a deduction in equal installment over the period for which license remains in force. Further, it provided that where the license is transferred and proceeds for the transfer is less than the expenditures remaining unallowed and deduction equal to the expenditure remaining unallowed as reduced by the proceeds of transfer shall be allowed in a year of transfer of license. Where the license is transferred and proceeds of the transfer exceeds the amount of expenditures remaining unallowed, excess amount shall be chargeable to tax as profit and gain of business in previous years in which the license has been transferred. It also provides for the write-off of unallowed expenses in case where a part of the license is transferred, rebate on subscription to shares and debentures in the telecommunication sector, hotel sectors. A tax rebate up to 20% will be available for amount invested in equity shares and debenture of public companies engaged in infrastructure including power, hotel, providing business, telecommunication services up to a limit of 14,000, extending scope of tax exemption on financing through venture capital, external borrowing and long-term borrowing to power and hotel sectors. Under the existing provision, interest payable by qualifying industrial undertakings on funds borrowed in foreign currency is exempted from income tax to the subject to certain conditions. The definition of industrial undertaking for this purpose has been extended to include an undertaking engaged in the business of providing tourism related service, telecommunication service. Under the existing provision, income by way of dividend and long-term capital gains earned by an approved venture capital fund or company from equity investment in domestic unlisted companies engaged in the tourism industry, production of specified articles, things is exempted from income tax. The scope of this provision is now being extended to similar investment in other companies engaged in the business of tourism, hotel, transportation, electricity, power, telecommunications, etc. Income by way of dividend, interest or long-term capital gains arising to an infrastructure fund or company from shares held in through provision of long-term finance, that is more than 5 years, to any enterprise carrying on the business of developing, maintaining and operating specific infrastructure subject to certain conditions exempted from tax. This benefit has been now extended to income arising from an investment in or lending to an enterprise engaged in the generation of power, distribution of electricity or related with the tourism and travel related activities, etc. Tax holiday to industrial parks. A tax holiday of 100% for initial 5 years and 25%, 13 case of the companies, deducted from profits for subsequent 5 years for the notified industrial parks which begins operating between 1st April 1997 and 1st March 2002. Hotels in hilly rural area, place of pilgrimage area where tourism infrastructure needs to be developed will be eligible for reduction of 50% of profit for 10 assessment years. This concession will be available to hotels starting operating between April 1st, 1998 and March 31st, 2002. In respect of hotels located in any other place, the deduction shall be 30% of the profits. This deduction is also available to hotels located in Calcutta, Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, etc. Now let us discuss the summary. In the growth and development of tourism industry, ownership structure, financial and non-financial incentives have a pivotal role to play. In sum, we have understood the following aspects: revenue sources of travel agencies and to our operation business, and financial incentives available for travel agencies and to our operators. Thank you very much for watching EPG Pathshala.